Drage gledalke, dragi gledalci, lepo pozdravljeni na teh virtualnih bralnicah pod slamnikom. Letos gostimo mladinsko pisateljico Mino Lystad, norveško avtorico priljubljenih romanov Luzerka in Fejk. Čaka nas zanimiv pogovor o večplastnih knjigah, ki ju mladi pri nas zdaj že nekaj časa berejo, tako Luzerko kot Fejk, ki je še dokaj sveža, če ju samo na hitro obe v prevodu Marije Zlatnar Moe, to je Luzerka prva in pa potem še Fejk. Moramo seveda tudi povedati, komu vse se zahvaljujemo, da smo danes tukaj na YouTube kanalu založbe, in sicer literarni dogodek, ki je del projekta Ni hec, ki ga sofinancira program Evropske unije Ustvarjalna Evropa, ter del festivala Bralnice pod slamnikom, ki ga sofinancirata Javna agencija za knjigo Republike Slovenije in občina Domžale. Vmes bomo tole tudi takole verjeten enkrat ali pa dvakrat pokazali, malo se bo takole vrtelo spodaj, da bomo rekli najlepša hvala sponzorji, pokrovitelji, ker nas podpirate, da se lahko srečujemo vsaj takole na spletu, če že drugače ne gre. In pa seveda vsi, ki nas spremljate, ste toplo povabljeni, da se tudi sami pridružite k klepetu, da sami prispevate kakšno vprašanje za našo gostjo, da tudi sami mogoče prispevate kakšno misel, kakšne lastne izkušnje s stvarmi, ki so se dogajale v obeh knjigah. Glejte, imamo takole, sicer tole je prejšnja, ampak takole vas lahko lepo lično noter potem vtaknemo v program in boste videli svoje vprašanje. Tako da mislim, da je to kar spodbuda. Je pa seveda zdaj tukaj še en kleč, in sicer, ker je gostja Mina Lystad, Norvežanka, seveda ne zna slovensko, jaz ne znam norveško, tako da bo pogovor potekal v angleščini, na kar smo vas sicer tudi že predhodno opozorili in vas obvestili. Tako da udobno se namestite pred svoje zaslone, bodi si pred telefone, računalnike, televizije, mogoče nas kdo gleda, kdo na projektorju, mogoče si je kdo, kaj pa vemo, sposodil prazno kinodvorano ali pa kakšno prazno gledališko dvorano, da se ne bo povsem prah nabral v njih in tam projicira ta pogovor. V glavnem, uživajte v naslednji skoraj da uri in kot rečeno, če se vam zahoče, če se vam kaj utrne, ste lepo povabljeni, da tudi sami kaj vprašate. And now it is time for me to welcome in our virtual studio all the way from Norway, Mina Lystad. Hello, Mina.
Hello.
Hello. Usually, hello, yeah, 12 points.
Yeah, but it feels like coming into the Eurovision actually and say 12 points to Slovenia.
Wow, at least. Yeah. That's the first time we got 12 points from a northern country, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Usually we have those talks at Bralnice pod slamnikom, so reading under the straw hat. We usually do it in Domžale, a nice small town in a cultural center. And my first question is usually, so is this your first time in Slovenia? I can't ask you that now, but have you ever been in our parts of Europe?
No, I haven't. So it would have been lovely to be there with you today. So I hope I will get an opportunity later to come and visit you.
I think that nice people at Mish Publishing House will do everything to get you here when the COVID settles. But today we're going to talk about your books. I can show them again because I really like the way those two covers are made. So,
yeah.
This way with I always get distracted with left or right here when I'm watching myself on camera.
Yeah.
So Luzerka and Fejk, two young adult novels about problems of growing up, problems of first love, and of course the dangers that lurk on social media and media. But those aren't your first book. As far as I know, your first book was a picture book about Alfred who had to read aloud.
That's correct.
So,
Yeah.
can you tell me maybe just a few things about this picture book?
Yeah, I wrote a book about Alfred, and his biggest fear in the whole wide world. He's quite anxious for many, many things, but the biggest fear of all time is speaking in public and reading aloud in front of his class. So actually, it's more a book about like being anxious, and I can relate to that fear, as many people can. So I worked with this wonderful illustrator, and that was my first book actually ever.
So, when you said you draw from your own experience for
Yeah.
this book, so were you? Did you have any like bad memories from school where you had to do some reading or
Um,
poem? Or
no, I was less nervous as a kid, but I grew more nervous being an adult. I think like getting all the consequences and as like the social game gets more complex, my nerves kicked in. But when I was a kid, I was like happy camper and just talking everywhere. So actually, I was like writing about my adult self more than my kids stuff. So and that's what makes it fun to like write children's books, because you can like deal with a lot of your own stuff, but hiding it more.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I think this is also when you write in children's books, they all tend to deal with some really universal or fears or emotions or and
Yeah.
sometimes even with stuff that we sometimes forget that even kids have the same problems as the adults and start asking the same questions.
Yeah, I think it's an illusion that we're that different, and that's quite like that's my always my starting point when I write for children, and also when I write, like for instance, Nerd or Fejk, I am the main character while I write her. You know what I mean? I have not like no distance between, so I have to like work from my own emotions basically
Mhm.
to get in touch with her and like everything. And my experience is that we're not that different. We just we know a few more social codes and than the kids do.
Mm. And I think that yeah, but there is a thing that I think our generation and older generations that I think maybe lack a bit of it when trying to read the younger generations or to become like them is maybe that we were spared the complexity of the virtual world
Yeah.
in our youth. Nowadays, sometimes I think about myself, what would I be doing if we had internet? And I'm so glad that I didn't have it.
I
Just
know, I
maybe
know.
because of the stuff. I think I as an inexperienced kid, would try to put out. Wh-
Yeah.
what do you think? What would you do if the social media was present when you were like at the end of this, like that primary school, secondary school, in the teenage years?
Oof, I think that would not be good. I would be like really opinionated, like I'd figured everything out and be like very like out there, I think. And because you know that's the regulation stuff that you learn when you get older, and you don't have it, and also like all the social complexity and the game of it all, it gets so much more. It's like I feel like social media for kids is like a schoolyard on speed. It's
Yeah.
like a schoolyard with filter, and I can just imagine you have the real schoolyard while you're at school, and then you come home and you have like all these superstar filters, and you can hide between like the screen and write stuff to people. I think it would be like awful. And actually that was my starting point when I got the idea from for Nerd, the first book.
So, but just to say, the nerd is the Slovene translation is Luzerka.
Mhm.
So, what would be maybe translated as loser, because our nerd is the word we use is like piflar is really just too. I think too. It isn't wide enough. It doesn't cover
No.
everything that, like
Yeah.
the English, or I presume a Norwegian nerd
Yeah.
would cover. It's basically just about how you're doing in school and just studying. So it doesn't have any other connotations in it.
No.
When did Marie start to come up in your mind? Was it the person first, or was it the thing about social media that you wanted to tackle first, and then she came to life after that?
It was, I think it was a combination. I had like the characters Marie and Espen, her friend. Is he called Espen in Slovenia as well, or does
Yeah,
he have
it's Espen. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I had like their relationship I wanted to write about for some time, and I tried to like put them in other stories, but it didn't work. And then I was sitting at home a couple of years ago, or like 3-4 years ago, and I just kept falling into this rabbit hole that the social media is designed to, because it's set up to make us fall into the rabbit holes and just surf our nights away. And I was like, I think intellectually I understood what was going on because I'm a grown-up, but emotionally I was really starting to feel that I didn't have a life that was cool or successful, and everyone else was having so much more fun than I was, and all those feelings. And I felt like I was like 13 or 14 again when I felt those feelings, because my head was like, this is how it works, you're doing the same thing, but like emotionally it just floored me. And then I started basically like thinking about that and how it would be, as we started our conversation, if I was 13, 14 and the social media game was like at play. And also because I work as a writer in television, in addition to writing books, and the like invasion of social media has been so huge, and I was at a project at the time where people were talking about nonstop, and I was like, but this is quite like a new phenomena, and people are like talking about it as it's like the most important thing in the world. And I think those two things in combination are my own like feelings, and also like the massive like talk about it all the time everywhere I went, just started and just gave me the idea, because I have a quite like, I'm quite ambivalent to it myself, because I really love it. I was a blogger for some years, so I really love it.
What kind of subject have you blogged about?
This is very like niche, because I've always been into like vintage clothing, and I photograph. So I had this blog where it was like clothes and photography, basically.
Great.
Yeah. So so I really like love it, and I know also if I've had this when I was 13, I would like find my own community and it would be great. But as a writer, you can like take all that ambivalence and you can just make it into characters, and you can like play with it. So I could just, I don't know, it felt like sorting out my own feelings about social media writing the book. Because when you write for kids, you can make it fun. You don't have to be like, think about like the moral, like you can just play around with it, which was great. And I hope that children who read it don't take it that seriously. It can be really fun, but don't take it too seriously. It's just in 10, 15 years time, there will be something else.
Yeah, I think it goes around in circles and comes always new stuff that maybe us as adults are concerned about, the way that the kids will react to try to protect them. But I think maybe if we start with this project that their teacher gave them, for me, I think this was one of the most I would say unusual parts of the book, because I was like, come on, you're a teacher and you're pushing your kids to go on internet. But I also got feeling, yeah, he did it because through his characterization in the book, I got he was totally overwhelmed. He was like overwhelmed with the internet and social media. Like he saw like the second coming of Christ. Like yeah, this we had the social media kids.
Yeah.
Have together, and also I think this subject that they had to. So I think what was it? Called in Slovene. So this kind of democratic or something. Like, what was the subject that he thought this? Because in Slovene, so we've just finished the lesson on democracy.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning of the now. So now our teacher for DKE is in Slovene. So what's basically the subject he's teaching?
He's teaching, what's it called in English? I really don't know, like about society and learn,
Aha.
like, I don't know what's it, samfunnsfag it's called in norsk. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called in English. Social
I
studies?
think
Is it social studies? I think maybe.
I think it's social. I think in Slovene we have in the primary school we have some like it, it's also something to do with ethics and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like get into to how to get you to be a proper citizen or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, but
How
the
to
thing,
work.
I've met a few like bosses in my life that's like very into like social media and like it's the most important thing, which can be quite like annoying. And also in, I don't know about you in Slovenia, but in Norway we kind of like have this on and off discussion about schools and how much they're going to like involve the social media in the schools, and if all the kids are having iPads from when they're 6 years old because they're so desperately need these skills. And I'm not sure if that's right. I'm actually quite skeptical about that. That's the way to go, because I personally think that you need to learn how to regulate how to use it and not use it, because it's easy to use. Like, let's be honest.
It's easy to abuse it because it's
Exactly.
as a parent, I know sometimes you're just like, oh, we're in a restaurant. Okay, that was from some time ago. We're in a restaurant. I can give the phone to the kid. Now we can eat without interruption or something like that. But you really have to be careful how to dose it, how to do it. And we had this, our dilemma in Slovene. It's called uzgoja in etika, so education and ethics is the equivalent in Slovene. Thank you, Určka, for this. So yeah, the teacher just throws them into this social media experiment, and they have to just make do with what they have, and then we get to know all their maybe some strong points of more confident ones, and also all the insecurities of others. And I think this is basically, like you've said, yeah, it's schoolyard. The way we did it without internet, you tried to present some idealized version of you, telling fibs and all stories to people to be your friends, to get in some social circles. And now it's everything is happening on with likes and comments.
And you never ever get time off, you know.
Yeah.
You're always like just a bit away from like the same schoolyard and the same dynamics all the time, which I think can be really, really tiring. So the teacher he's not a good teacher. I don't like him that much. I've just written, he's like the parody of where this is going. I think if if you just keep on going on this road, like you need to learn how to make like a viral hit. That could be like someone's idea of getting a skill, kind of. So in literature you can play around with stuff. So I made him quite douchey.
Yeah. He was, and he's also like the only teacher that comes that is more prominent in the story. But we also see some other adults, and maybe the thing with Marie is she also has a mom who is a blogger. And did you get any of those experiences with people sending you heaps of stuff with vintage clothes, or were you left out of those giveaways?
No, I had a few thousand readers at one point, like years ago. But no, this is like, she's also like, I like her a lot, the mother in the story. I really do. I have like a heart for her because she's so she's a good person, but she's like been sucked into this, like, I'm suddenly like this everything, I'm this influencer, I'm this model, I want to lead this glamorous life. And she was also like, she was really fun to write as well, because I could really like go all the way out there, and I'm not even exaggerating that much, I think. And I think it's really fun because there's a lot of things that annoys me a bit, you know, as an adult, that other adults do, but it's much more fun to like, to instead of like writing a big like angry essay in the newspaper, it's so much more fun to like make fun of it in the children's book. So I can kind of like go into it and yeah.
And I think one of the points that really sells her to us as a positive person, but someone who's not really in touch or trying too hard, is that constant searching for inspirational quotes that she's spewing at Maria. I think she reminded me kind of with this one, but with the Gassi's parents from A Fault in Our Stars, when they have this their whole flat, their whole house is just full of those uplifting sentences. Like she's the same, like, oh, I've got this one. Oh, how hard was it for you to find all those inspirational quotes? Were you just I know, surfing through Instagram, browsing through Instagram, or do you?
Yeah, because that's, you know, the internet is flooded with them, and it's so fun. Like that's a part of like the whole thing, that you need to like sometimes show that you also like you're deep and you have like deep emotions, and you like push out those shallow quotes. So no, I was just reading through tons of them, and I could just pick and choose. So that was really fun.
Yeah. I think one of those points which really laughed out loud, although without saying this, but if you know, it is in the second book in Fejk, when she suddenly becomes obsessed with Marie Kondo, and there were no names, but everyone who saw that knew what she was about. But if we return then to Marie and Esther, so that's kind of like their relationship starts as a pretty, could you say, regular young adults story. So we have like two kids. They're both kind of out of the loop. They're not in the high social circles. We see that they both have some kind of feelings for each other, but they're too awkward, too shy to let those feelings out. And the way they're constantly revolving around each other, just feeling, can there be something, is really kind of also hit me hard, really, with the memories of my teenage years.
Sorry.
And also the way they're, I like, maybe we can spoil both books now, because I think people have read them, or maybe this is not, is the way the relationship is set up could easily be like just fall into cliches, so that they end up together at the end of first book or at the end of the second book, but that just doesn't happen. It's kind of like breaking away with some stuff that was supposed to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah, it was really important, because I really love Espen as a character. I wrote him I think I wrote him as someone I would absolutely fall deeply in love with when I was 13, you know. But he is a bit more dominating in that relationship than what first meets the eye, because he knows that Marie has feelings for him, and he likes that she has it, but he just wants to keep her there, kind of. So for that relationship to like go full circle, I needed her to, in the first book, he chooses someone else, but in the second book, she chooses someone else. She's actually given the opportunity to like go for him, and she didn't. She goes another way with someone else, and that was really important, because she needed to be like totally released from that. They needed to like even out the dynamics a bit. So they could probably end up together when they're older, kind of, but they needed to like clear out, like she needed to become like strong in her own sense, because she's so shy and she just wants to be like normal, and he's very like outgoing. So she needed to come a bit more into her own, I think, and not going for him is an important part of that journey for her.
And I also think what's really good in the relationship they have is when he starts urging her to do this to nerdify other videos, is not because he was making fun of her, but he really liked the way she was clumsy. Because all the time there is no hint of any malice in his relationship towards her when recording those stuff. Just like, oh yeah, you're not the perfect one, but I really like that. And I think
but what he doesn't understand is that he is exposing her most vulnerable side, because that is something she's only comfortable about showing him, kind of. So she's going along with it because she secretly loves him. But he's not that sensitive to like everything about it. But he really loves her, and he's a good guy. But he's also a young, stupid guy.
Yeah,
kind of. And she's a young, stupid, unexperienced girl, and that's everyone's stupid, kind of. Not stupid, but unexperienced is the word I'm looking for. I'm so sorry. I haven't spoken English in a year, so.
Yeah, because their faults also, like the way they don't know how to react, and the way that that Marie uses Esmond's story then in the videos. It's coming, yes, out of inexperience, out of innocence, maybe even guile. They believe that other people won't take advantage of their trust. And I think this is also one of the main themes of these stories, that you have to be careful who you trust, that people need to earn your trust. And sometimes it's hard when you got sucked in this blizzard or whirlpool of likes that start falling down, and because then Marie also finds out that she's not kind of different from others. When she gets the chance to get the likes, she enjoys it. I think we all do.
Yeah. That's also part of like the whole setup, right? That it's easy to get carried away. That's the whole part of it. So she's not entirely like good, because no one is. So you have to make like a complex character, and she does a few things that I don't necessarily agree with. But that's her experience. She needs to like go through it and
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe with her, we have this question that Urška says, I think their reactions and emotions are really well written. So where did you observe how teens act? Was it just a memory, or was it more like research?
No, first, thank you very much. It was very, very sweet comment. No, actually, I must admit that, as I said earlier, I just kind of like rely on my own memories as a teen, but also like on my own emotions, basically. I don't know if I have very childish friends. Can be, it could be. But it's like, I don't feel like there's that much difference really if you just take away some of the social norms between adults and kids. So I don't like observe them that much, but I usually like eavesdrop when I'm sitting on the bus, for instance. Like, not eavesdrop, but it's fun to like see them interact with each other. But most of the research is like based on my own emotions. Maybe I'm very childish. I could be. I don't know.
Yes. Because people usually they start writing also with me. It also happened when I started writing for kids. It was when I got my own kid, and then you, as the kids grow up, you start to maybe also adapt to their age with writing. And I'm kind of terrified, just what you said, to rely on your teenage memories when writing about it, because I don't know if I'm prepared to go into that box of fears and
Exactly,
anxieties.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, because it's very like intense. You have to be,
Mm,
so it's very, very intense to write about teenage love because it's so intense when it
yeah.
happens, when you get those feelings and like the jealousy and everything and the insecurity. It's just, I remember, I'm so happy that I'm never going to be like 13 or 14 again. I couldn't cope, I
Yeah.
think, being that again. But it's also very like a good time, but it's hard as well. It's really hard.
I think if we could kind of merge the innocence and the playfulness we have in teenagers with some of emotional and social experience we have as adults, I think that
Yeah.
would be great. And just to interrupt with this with Marshmallow, so I just wanted to say I love the books and they're really well written. I easily understood the emotions, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe just before we continue, Urshka said something before when we were talking about mother. That I really like that her mom is still present in the relationship. She's not this typical blogger mom who doesn't have time for her daughter.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
So
She's
uh,
very warm, I think, but she's just a bit I don't know.
carried away
Yeah, carried
sometimes.
away.
But I think because also when we get to meet them at that blogger resort where they, I think she's one of the most grounded ones that
Yeah,
we see there. But everybody's just, oh yeah, I want to take picture with you. Come on, let's do this. And
yeah,
also the way she does this with, I don't know, is this the first or the second book where she gets this heap of boxes and she's like, come on, they're sending me all this plastic. People hashtag
yeah,
save the nature, hashtag
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. That's the second book where she's gotten into like the more influencer, green
Mhm.
influencer part of it. Mm.
And so the antagonists, we haven't touched on them. I just have to get. So Hedy
Yeah.
and her. So Hedy is this supposedly cool girl. So I think this is also maybe is a nice thing when you compare the two books. So in the first we have Hedy, which is
Mm.
the epitome of cool, and she's acting like it, and she's exaggerating it. She's like totally um, kind of taking advantage of the way that people see her, that people want to be her friends and so on. Whereas
Mm.
in the second book, when we have, is it Tarjei pronounced?
Yeah, Tarja is the
Tar-
love.
yeah, in the second book,
Yeah.
he's like this. Also, when everybody thinks like he's this cool, distant sports jogger guy and everything, but in reality, he's uh, under this kind of teenage macho posture. There's a really shy guy who really isn't that well socially skilled as maybe so Hedy, who is taking advantage of all those of pulling social strings.
Mm.
And so maybe if we go return with it, so how was the Hedy? How was it hard to write? Was it fun to write? Did you maybe
Right, Hedy?
yeah Hedy when especially in the end when she get this total shock with the hair extensions and
Yeah, no, it was really fun to. Yeah, that's really a cliche, but to write like bad people or people like are the antagonists is really fun, and also because she's quite funny. I think just to she's also like a parody kind of like, and also it's a personal chance to like write in all like the popular not very nice girls that you grew up
Mhm.
with, kind of. You can draw a lot of inspiration from that. No, I think she's funny, and no, it was fun, but it was really funny to write both nerd and fake. I think it
Mhm.
was like yeah, it was a fun project to do.
Yep. And so the first one, as we said, is about social media, the way we project. the way they can take us. And the second book then is concerned with the phenomenon of fake news. So, did you know that you will write the sequel before you finished the first book, or was it the success of the first book that made you dig deeper into those characters?
No, I think mainly I just felt that the story with Maria and Espen wasn't finished, but I just left it a bit, and then it just came to me when I got some rest on a holiday. It started to like move again, and then I was a bit interested in that you say that kids, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. So I thought it was fun. I guess it was like a time where fake news was a lot of talk around it.
Yeah.
And it's also like in the same case as Nerd on social media, it's really fun to like see big social structures through the eyes of kids. So I was like, what if we took like the fake news thing into the school paper? How would that how would that be? And how would they interpret it? So then like maybe like in the first book, the two of them kind of like came together. And I kind of knew because Tarjei, the love interest in Fejk, he's mentioned one time in Nerd. So I had like, I remember when I was finishing Nerd, I called my editor and I said, I need to make one change. I need to make a change so that Tarjei is in, because he's like 1 year older than Marie, right, in Fejk. And I had initially written like he says one thing to her in Nerd, and I had initially written that he was in 2 grades over her. So I said we need to like take him down a notch, because I think maybe he needs to stay in school for another year. So I think like maybe subconsciously I was working on it, but not like realizing I was working on it. So yeah, that's how it came to life. And I think it's fun to like go into like those big issues as social media, fake news, and try to make something fun around it, because kids get a lot of like people talk about it with a lot of moral and a lot of seriosity. So I think it's funnier to make fun of it.
And the way you said that you had quite a lot of before that, you had quite a lot of these debates about technology and kids giving iPads to 6 years old, and so
Yeah.
So how about are there any like media education programs or courses that you know of that help kids to realize the fake news, real news dichotomy? Because in Slovene we have this great, it's called Časoris, kind of a website, especially for kids, especially for primary school kids, and they did quite a lot of those articles on that, and also did the forward for the Fejk, and so what's the experience with kids that you know with fake news in Norway?
I think I don't, because my kids are small, so they're not in school. So I don't know exactly, but what I like pick up from articles and stuff, I think it's like being a part of the conversation and a part of like, for instance, subjects like social studies, and there's quite a lot of like focus on it in Norway as well. Also in the media itself, they're like really working towards like building integrity and so that, yeah, to stop all the fake news going around.
Was it the fake news the first thing that popped to your mind to do this sequel about, or were you playing around with some other themes that you might use for the story?
No, it was quite like punch to, yeah, it was fake news from the get-go, actually, because it was so fun with the school paper. And I kind of like found the editor character, which is also quite fun to write as well. And also that I needed, because Maria had in like Nerd, she doesn't have a skill. So I needed her to like have a development, and that she finally found something that she was good at, which is writing and journalism. so that she could evolve. So it just kind of like fell into place quite fast in my mind, and that's not always the case. I need to like that's more often not the case, but it did this time, so that was nice.
And so when it happens, it's great when everything falls into place so quick when doing the story. I think it's also this kind of serendipities, as you've said, that you about Tarja, the code taking down a year, is sometimes you really just put stuff into writing subconscious, something, okay, this sounds like a good idea here just for a throwaway line, and then maybe after I know, so it's a short story after 3 pages, or if it's a novel after 10 chapters, you just found, okay, I can use the thing that just lay there, kind of like subconscious Chekhov's gun in the story.
That's interesting. Interesting process to see how it kind of like evolves.
So maybe just this, how do you plot a story? Do you have like kind of everything on paper, or do you do a pin board with post-its, or is it all just in your head?
For quite a long time it's in my head, and then I just start to write like very with no like no overview. I just kind of like write from the stomach. It needs to be like, it needs to come from energy, because and I think also because I write and I work full time as well, so I need to like, it needs to give me energy when I write. So I just like, you know, playing around with stuff, and all of a sudden I have this scene and this scene and this scene, and then it just kind of like, it gets, I start to like see the whole line, and then I need okay, I need a scene there, I need a scene there, she needs that development. But I'm not actually that systematic. But I think as you write more and more, I gradually become more systematic, and then it's more a struggle to stay in like the intuitive zone for as long as you need, because that's where, you know, like the most energy is in the project, I think. And then you like later on you start to be, you discuss it with your editor, and you know, everything like has to be logic. I usually get like notes like, but this timeline doesn't add up, because I just like forget where I am in the timeline, and then, you know, and then it's like, but you said this was 3 weeks ago. It's too, okay, sorry, because it's not that part of my brain that works the most in the beginning of stuff. But then I need to like really get it, plug it on later on.
I think that with such a, it's easier with kind of bordered world that is in this novel. I know I've read somewhere about George R.R. Martin, that he said like he kind of writes a character, and then his assistant asks him, no, you can't use him, he's been dead for 2 books. So there's no problem.
I could never write fantasy for that reason alone, because it's so, but because it needs to come from some place, like a more intuitive place for me, at least for now. Maybe when I'm old and I have all the time in the world, I can start making up different worlds. For now, I have like, it's more than enough here on planet Earth.
You've said that you do the outline, and then you just kind of see, follow your intuition. How often do your characters surprise you when you write, when you just let yourself feel right through their thoughts? How often then do they catch you off guard? Like, oh, come on, did they really do this?
If they do, I'm in a good place. When they don't, I'm not in a very good like flow mode. So I think sometimes, but you kind of like get to know them a bit. Like I think maybe Idil, which is like Maria's friend in Fejk. She's the one that really like surprised me the most, because she's so punchy. I really love her attitude, and it surprised me because she's in a way that I would never ever dare to be when I was 13 or 14 years old. So she just sometimes just, okay, but yeah, I needed to like go with the flow with her.
That's great.
Yeah.
So and I also think this new reality of media is with this school newspaper, because if I remember, I think when I started primary school, we had this school newspaper that was still done with that not rotoscopy, but something else when everything just smelled of chemicals and was just indigo color. And when you got it, and then maybe in the secondary school, we had kind of like that technology with first word processors and so on, so that we just put some stuff together, print it out, then photocopied it. But here the news are just pouring out. We have this like web page where they put everything on. So
Yeah.
how the kids, I think it's kind of also this faster pace of this
Yeah.
world, because if this book was happening like 10, 15 years ago, they would have like maybe 3 or 4 issues a year,
Yeah.
and now they can just put it out. Just they all need all the material, and they have kind of larger competition too, because they have to compete with all other websites with
Yeah.
professionals, and they only have these kids from that school.
No, I think,
So
but isn't that like the part of the problem as well, that everything is so fast?
yeah.
So you like, you never ever get the time to think things through.
Mhm.
It's like I feel that in my own life as well, that you need to respond so quickly to everything.
Mhm.
So like the natural lag that everything had earlier has of course disadvantages, obviously, but
Yeah.
still it's just something about thinking things through that I think would be that would benefit us all, both in our private life and like in the media.
And also the stuff is we've just become oh, addicted to the flow of new information. I think
Yeah,
it's just okay. Give me some titles. Give me clicks, 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 clicks. I want to see this, and I think this is where the importance of books comes in, because they force us to switch this constant alt tabbing or clicking of for new
mm.
information. Just they force you to focus on one
Mm.
thing, and they force you to pull the handbrake, slow down,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those two books did it for me, because
Oh
they're
wow.
really I really just blazed through them also because they were a nice read. But it's kind of, yeah, if the book is good, it just keeps your focus, and it's even harder now when the books have to compete with all that hub
Yeah,
and flashy word of internet
yeah,
around us.
yeah.
So maybe if we just take this maybe personal question from your perspective. So you're a writer, so you write for a living. But how often, let's say, do you have any trouble concentrating when taking a book? So when you get the
No,
time for reading, does all that flashiness of internet just messes with your reading?
yeah, it really does. And I actually like during last year, where the need for news felt like unstoppable at a point because of the COVID pandemic. I felt like I was online like 24/7, watching the numbers. You get like
Yeah.
manic. So I needed to like I was so bad at focusing at a point that I really like needed to like sit down with myself and just, now you have to start reading books again, and you need to read them from paper. You can't read them from
Mm.
screens. And now it's back on track. So it can be trained back, but I needed to make that decision because I was really like, my concentration was way off. I couldn't like
Yeah.
keep focus for more than and it happens really fast. So my own, like one of my wishes for my own kids who grow up obviously with like all this technology, is that they will also get like the opportunity to learn and to think deep thoughts, like be uninterrupted for a long period of time. So like it feels like you go down a couple of waves and you stay down there, and there's a lot of like fun stuff happening there that you don't get in touch with if you're always up here. So yeah, that's like when I get feedback from readers that children who's read the book, then it's like a few of them have said that they really like crack the code with reading. That's like the best thing I can hear, because that's really like that's all you want to do basically with writing for kids, to give them like the opportunity to have a book, to read a book for the first time maybe, and get that experience with reading, because it's so valuable and I've had so much joy from it myself, and I really just wish it for everyone. Also adults, we need it. Like, it's a real break, basically.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for those words. We're slowly approaching the end of this conversation, so I'm just inviting again all the people that are watching us now live on YouTube at Mir Založba. We have to do this. Sorry, I have just to say who's giving us money. So literarni dogodek je del projekta Knjigah, ki ga sofinancira program Evropske unije Ustvarjalna Evropa, ter del festivala Bralnice pod Slamnikom, ki ga sofinancirata Javna agencija za knjigo Republike Slovenije in občina Domžale. So we'll put them on ticker just a bit underneath, so they get their names on. And I'll ask so anyone if they want to chime in with questions now. And so one of the last questions that I want to ask you is, you said there probably is something more in store for Marie. She needs to, maybe they will get together somewhere in the future, but do you have any stories that you would like to explore, or themes that you would like to explore with Marie and Espen and all the other kids around? Because now they have just one more year at primary school, and then they move on.
So my answer should be yes, but the answer is no. It's not like at this point, I don't, because for me, it was like the story of Maria and Espen, that they needed to like figure that thing out. So at the moment, no, but I've learned that you can never say never. I honestly didn't have like a plan for making a sequel to Nerd as well. So, and that just, all of a sudden came to mind. So it can be, I'm holding every possibility open, but not at this point. No.
Great. Okay, so Marija Zlatnar Moe is here, your translator. She said, just wanted to say hi, and it was nice almost meeting you.
Oh, nice almost meeting you as well.
Next time, hopefully we get you here. And Urška just said, do you have a writing routine? So how do you find yourself in writing in these busy times? Yeah, you've mentioned that this is the addition to your work. So what's your writing routine?
Oh, I wish I had a writing routine.
Don't we all?
Oh, I write when I have like a slot of time where no one else needs me. And at this point in my life, it's very, very seldom.
Yeah.
So maybe like early mornings or late at night if I have the energy. But my favorite place to write is actually at cafes, which is such a cliche, but I absolutely love it. And I think like, because you get to like see people and just be brought out of your own mind. It's a really nice supplement to being in your own text. But now, everything is closed, and it's been closed in Oslo for over a half a year. So I don't have the opportunity, but hopefully after the summer.
Yeah, we've just got opened the outside tables in bars in part of Slovenia. So 2 days ago. So let's go.
In the summer, you can also like sit up, but I like to people watch while I write. To like write and then just, so that's and also I need to listen to music. Also,
what kind of music?
When I write,
is it any special genre, or just depending on the mood or the?
It's a bit depending on the mood, but when I wrote both Nerd and Fejk, I listened to like really the most like commercial pop. Because it's, I don't know, it just, I don't know, I think maybe it just gets me in touch with my own 14-year-old kind of, because it reminds me of music I listened to back then. So I can't like write about teenage love and listen to Beethoven. That doesn't work for me. I need to listen to like disco music.
Or there would be some characters from some private school.
Exactly, something. Or if I were to write like more adventurous books, maybe I'm in a couple of years, then maybe I would listen to classical music, I guess.
So, yeah. Okay, so Urška just chiming in to say that this was such a great conversation, and your Slovene publishers, Založba, say thank you, Mina and Boštjan, for a wonderful conversation. So,
Thank you.
Mina, do you have any last words for your Slovene readers? Something that you want
No,
to tell them?
I hope to be there in person next time. And now I also see that my light is fading. The screen is getting a bit dark. So no, I'm really lovely to hear that the books are getting great reviews and that people are reading them in Slovenia. It's so amazing to me that they're there, and I read them here in my little home in Norway, Oslo. So thank you very much for listening and reading, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, Mina. Thank you for the conversation. It was a great experience, and really hoping to we'll get to host you in Slovenia as soon as possible. Have a nice time, and just before we say goodbye, I have to read that stuff once again. So, yeah, in Slovene. V sklopu Bralnic pod Slamnikom letos gostimo mladinsko pisateljico Mino Lystad, oziroma zdaj smo jo že gostili. Literarni dogodek pa je del projekta Ni hec, ki ga sofinancira program Evropske unije Ustvarjalna Evropa, ter del festivala Bralnice pod Slamnikom, ki ga sofinancirata Javna agencija za knjigo Republike Slovenije in občina Domžale. In ne pozabiti, tole bom čisto moja, ampak prej sem na začetku, in the beginning, there was a question, where can I buy your books? So just go to Mish website. They'll get you can get it there. And tomorrow there's a book fair, a virtual book fair that started in Slovenia, and you can also get all the Založba Mish books there. So just click and get them. So yeah, we were out of book fairs, we're out of anything, but just biding our time here on the net. Thank you very much again for your company. I mean, it was really great. And until next time, when hopefully in person, have a great time. And I hope you find a lot of time for writing with the two wonderful kids.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.